So for me, I have a very sophisticated time management system. It's called a toddler. So
A toddler.
a toddler.
Oh, a toddler.
Yeah, he just turned 3, and
Oh, an actual
an actual
I thought
toddler.
that was an acronym. You are listening to The Sounds of Positivity with Crystal Mars, the real tea you need to navigate through life. Join me for discussions on topics from business to marketing and gain insights on how to start and get the work done. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Positivity. Today, our guest is that guy McClean. Yes, that's his Instagram name. But yes, today we're with Corey McClean. Corey builds brands from the ground up throughout the Caribbean for over 10 years. He's a master in entrepreneurship, brand architect, CEO of Sips Smoothie Bar in Barbados. It's the Orange Mobile Smoothie Bar. If you're in Barbados, you've definitely seen this bar before. It's located various places. He's a trainer, speaker, into consulting. In my research, I was like, who is this guy I'm bringing here? Like,
Who is he? Who's that guy?
okay, so tell us more. Who are you?
Okay, so you got most of it right. The sips bit, that is, I guess most people still know me for that.
Okay.
I haven't been that guy for 3 years or so.
3 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
But sips was my baby. That's where I got my feet wet. That's where I got my start.
Okay.
And most people still know me as the sips guy.
Okay.
So that's fine. I guess that's always gonna be a part of my personality, my identity. Yeah. So there's that. I am, as you said, a brand architect, and I build brands from the ground up. Yes, it's a soundbite. Yes, it's a pitch. It's an elevator pitch, but it kind of tells you who I am, how I think, and how I do what I do. So my entire approach to business is, why build just a business, a hack, a hustle, when you can build something that endures?
Okay.
Which means then that your business has to be built from the ground as something that is solid and relatable.
Okay.
Right? You try to make people fall in love with your business. That's it in a nutshell.
Okay, I like it. So you just said you are not the sips guy anymore. What does that mean?
So I conceptualized the idea,
Okay.
brought it to market along with a business partner, Christian, and we built that business, pushed it for just about 10 years, at which point I needed to not, right?
Okay.
So I left Christian with full control of my baby.
Okay.
And I've been then doing other stuff since then. That's where the brand lab and my expansion of what has become One Mark, where those two things happen.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so tell us more about the brand lab. What is the brand lab?
Okay, so I've been a trainer, consultant, teaching, branding in general for about 4 years.
Okay.
Right. So Brand Lab basically is the umbrella under which Corey, the coach, the trainer, happens.
Okay.
But I also started with the name. I started with the name because I realized there isn't as much understanding of branding on a deep level in the landscape.
Okay.
And it came to me first as, I'm just gonna write a series of articles and just put them out there and help the world understand branding. Just like break it down, distill it, because apparently I understand this thing and other people, it just like flies right over their head.
Okay.
That's where it started. So I started writing the articles, pitched them to newspapers and whatnot. They're like, okay, cool, this is interesting. COVID happened, that was no longer exciting.
Okay.
Right? But so then I took that and broke it even further down with the Instagram, just putting information out there in a easy, accessible, bite-sizable way. So while yes, the Brand Lab is there as my training outlet, that's what I do.
Yeah.
But then also there's that side where I'm like, you know what? Let me just like help people understand what it is that I do.
Yeah.
Because when I say branding, people think logo, and that's definitely not it. That's probably the smallest slice of what your brand is.
Exactly.
But it's the part that people know most, people relate to, people or it's easily recognizable. And that's the point, right? But it's not the be all and end all of a brand. So that's where that whole thing came from. That's Brand Lab.
Okay. So I mean, like, similarly with the title brand architect, like when persons hear brand architect, like what exactly does Corey do?
Exactly. So when I started my consulting, it was from the perspective of, hey, Corey, you've been in business for a hot minute.
Okay.
I have a business that I'm trying to get off the ground, or I have a business that is a bit of a struggle. So I started helping people like streamlining their business.
Okay.
You know, what is your business model? Where are you going wrong? What's happening there? So then that's where my work with 10 Habitat came in.
Okay.
Where I've now be consulting to startups, startup founders, young fledgling businesses, and they'll need help within that space of, I'm not really sure what I'm doing, what direction I'm going, like help me.
Okay.
So that's where that whole thing started. But I'm not just helping you to build a business because it's for the sake of building a business and it'll last for 2 years. I want you to build something that endures. So at the end of the day, what you're building towards is a brand.
Okay.
So from whenever I speak, I always talk about what you're doing and how it's going to impact for the long haul.
Okay.
Right? You got to be playing the long game once you're in business. And that is where that part came in. So building from business model. So if I'm thinking about your business, I'm thinking about your business, your brand, and you're thinking about your business model as part of your brand and as an expression of your brand. We are not even talking about your logo or anything yet. But I'm thinking about your business model, how it expresses through your brand. That is where me thinking about it, that's your foundation.
Yeah.
So if you're going to build a business, build a brand, and you're going to start with a foundation, think about it like that. Think about if you're building a house.
Yeah, I was thinking the same
Exactly.
thing, like
See?
the logos,
So
the icing on top,
architect,
right?
See, makes sense. So the business model is your foundation.
Yeah.
You start thinking about things like your messaging, your brand story, and all that stuff, and that's what comes along. Those are the columns, the walls that hold the building up, and then you have your imagery and all that stuff that comes on at the end.
Okay.
Right? So that is my general approach to building a business, to building a brand.
Okay, I like it. Right, you mentioned 10 Habitat, but I feel like a lot of persons probably don't know what it is. So could you briefly say what
so
it
10 is a co-working space accelerator program, works with young people within Barbados, but also throughout the Caribbean.
Okay.
I joined them as a mentor. I've taught courses there. I facilitate in the 2-day boot camp and the 8-month accelerator program.
Okay.
So what happens is, if you have a business, hey, Crystal, you have a business, you come to 10 and you will come into the program through the 2-day boot camp. And I remember when I was told about this boot camp, I thought that, I was like, this don't make no sense. Like, this can't be done in 2 days.
Wow.
Like, so Selwyn Cambridge, he runs 10. He's like the guy, and no, he's a veteran. No, he's been in it. He's been in marketing. He's been in business for a long time. Anyway, so he's explained it to me. He's like, yeah, we do this. So because we're having a conversation, I'm telling him about, we do a program, like basically a crash course at K-Ville, where it's like 5 weeks. And he said, yeah. So we do this boot camp in 2 days. I'm like, no. That's impossible.
Yeah.
So the first one that I did, I remember I was like completely drained by lunchtime.
Okay.
So, and I'm the facilitator.
Wow.
So what happens is, you come in with your business idea, and your business idea is literally stripped. Like, we break it all the way down, strip it, like, and interrogate it, analyze it, see what is there.
Yeah.
If there's something there that's solid, then we can build on top of that.
Okay.
If there's a little shaky, then we show you, okay, fix this.
Okay.
That's on day one. At the end of day one, you're supposed to go out to the market to talk to customers. So you come back on the second day, having spent the morning talking to customers in the real world. You come back with your information, your findings, and then you have to pitch. You pitch to a panel, and you get feedback in general. And usually what happens is at the end of a pitch session like that for the 2-day boot camp is they'll usually pick two businesses to advance to become part of the 8-month accelerator. So it starts in cohorts. So each cohort will start about 3 months after the last. And that runs for 8 months. And a boot camp is so exciting. I've seen every possible type of reaction. Like there's some people like, yep, this is great. I love it. There are people that cry on day one. There are people that don't come back. There are people that, I remember one guy, he came back on the second day. He's like, okay, I went to the market, thought it was original, thought it was great.
Yeah.
Turns out there are like 15 businesses doing exactly what I thought was original. Oh, well, back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
And it's like all these different ideas. I remember being because we did the same boot camp in Trinidad, and I was working with this one guy, and everything I was saying made no sense to him, and we were going back and forth, and deep in the end of day one, it clicked, and when it clicked, right, now he's in a wheelchair, he's spinning around in circles, I'm running around the room because it now made sense.
Okay.
Come back the following day, he wins his category in the pitch.
Wow.
Because and nothing made sense until like 5:30 p.m. on day one. And that's when he saw it in the light bulb. And you can physically see the light bulb over the top of his head. Like, he was so happy. Mm-hmm. So a boot camp is like a really compact, high pressure, high energy.
Intense.
It's very, very intense. But what comes out
Yeah.
is something that you can build on. Yeah. So then that's just how that part of 10 Habitat works. So it's 8-month accelerator program that, you have a mentor assigned to you and you go through, you meet these milestones, and you come out at the end.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
So
I love it.
That's that.
I've actually been to a few seminars there, but I don't know what's happening now with COVID.
So everything's virtual now, but there's a sexy new space that's in the pipeline. I think COVID slowed down the actual construction because it was in construction when COVID kicked up. So I think I don't want to say when that's happening, but as far as I know, that is gonna be that's some sweet digs.
Okay, definitely something for people to look forward to.
For me to look forward to, for sure. I looking forward to seeing it when it's unveiled to me.
Okay, cool. So in my research, I recognize that you do something very similarly to what I'm doing here right now. Refuel.
Mm-hmm. So refuel is because, I guess I'm a bit of a geek, right? Like things that I'm obsessed with, I obsess over. And business, entrepreneurship, like that's my passion. So I read about entrepreneurs. I watch documentaries. I read bibliographies. I read articles. I can tell you everything about Richard Branson's life. I can tell you about when his aunt, bet him $10 he can learn to swim over a summer vacation, and by the end of the vacation he hadn't learned to swim, so he made his parents stop the car and he jumped in the river.
Oh wow.
And his father had to try to save him. Okay. But he did eventually get it done so he could get his 10 pounds. Right? Fine. I can tell you about Steve Jobs and how when he was growing up and he wanted to tinker with computer parts, he was able to get computer parts from the Hewlett-Packard company, not from just, the dump or whatever, but from Hewlett himself. I can tell you stories like that about Elon Musk. I can tell you about all these other people. I can't tell you that about Bajan entrepreneurs. And I think that's unacceptable.
Okay.
So what I wanted to do, because, I have a fairly sizable personal network.
Okay.
So I know stuff about people, but there are people in business who are now coming up, who are in school, who don't know about people around them. You go to all these businesses, but you don't know who owns them.
Okay.
You don't know who runs them. You don't know the stories of struggle that they've had.
Yeah.
So Refuel is basically a passion project. I wanted to just tell some of these stories. The idea was for it to be a live, in-person networking type event. I took the route to do it as a web show
Okay.
first. And then last year we did it as a live event in partnership with the museum, Barbados Museum. So we did five episodes
Yeah.
last year, live audience. And I mean, like, excellent guests, like Scott Ames last year, Ron Johnson, Tracy Fowler, Shannon Clark. And it was very, very cool. It's very intimate. It's a very intimate space, very intimate setting. And it was interesting to see how having this conversation, this intimate conversation with people that I consider to be, close friends
Right.
at this point, in front of
An audience.
50 people.
Yeah.
Like, that was cool and weird, but cool.
Yeah.
And it was like if we were just chilling, having a conversation, and you're in my living room or just chilling next to me on the deck, and you just like eavesdropping on this cool conversation. Because what happens is, people tell you who they are, like they show you, they bare their soul, right? And even more so, I guess, with the ones that I did before. I was in Trinidad. I did an interview. I say interviews. I had a conversation,
Okay.
a recorded conversation that you can watch on YouTube with Janelle Fronten. She's a writer, an entrepreneur, a creative in Trinidad. And what was cool is when we had that conversation, she was going through a transition. She had just left a 9-to-5 job, and she was just launching her business and publishing a book, her first book. She's on book number 3.
Wow.
Right? And she was in that very vulnerable space, and we just connected like if we were old friends. And so when I talk about, being like a fly on the wall, and you just like eavesdropping on this very intimate conversation, it's like we're having this conversation, and she's like, yeah, this is me.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to her, it's like, yeah, this is me, and we here together. Same thing with Kurt Anthony Hamilton from Tech Beach. So I talked with him. Carly Pipe, again, talked with her from that perspective on Refuel as well too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So what is the future for Refuel? Because I went on the Instagram page.
So Refuel, like I said, Refuel is passion project.
Okay.
So it's one of those things that is there. Like I'm not like whipping Refuel to go crazy. There is something in the pipeline. Just
right.
wait. But
All
there's something in the
right.
pipeline. Again, passion project. Had a cool conversation with somebody recently. Something cool could be happening soon.
All right. Great things to look forward to.
Right. So yeah. So that's Refuel.
Okay. So I did not mention, but I initially met Corey. I was a panelist for the Rotaract Barbados Club. It was Carving Your Digital Footprint, the Key to Personal Branding. And Corey was also a panelist. So I met him there. And I just wanted to touch a bit on, networking and online presence. Because I know persons, we're talking about brands and we're talking about businesses. But I mean, we are also brands. And you said that in your presentation, even if we know it or not, we are all brands and we have to represent ourselves and be mindful of this.
So it's interesting because on the one hand, I say that people simplify what a brand is and they simplify it down to being a logo. On the other hand, you can try to overcomplicate it and think that it's something that is so difficult to understand. And my claim to fame is I make things simple.
Yeah.
I make things seem so simple that they say, that's nothing amazing. So a brand is literally your reputation.
Yeah.
See? Simple. You have a reputation. Regardless of whether or not you're on the scene or if you're a socialite, you have a reputation. You have a reputation in your community. You have a reputation in your neighborhood. You have a reputation in your house. And that's your brand.
Yeah.
So if you are the person that you sleep till 11 o'clock every day and you never help with the chores, that's your brand. Your mother knows that's your brand. Your sister knows that's your brand. That is your brand.
Okay, so
Right.
what you are known for.
What you're known for is your brand. It's how other people perceive you. You might feel, you know what, I'm a really hard worker and I'm super smart and I'm really tired.
Yeah.
But if you wake up at 11 o'clock and you don't do any of the chores, you are a slacker. That's plain and simple. That's what the people within your audience are perceiving. That's the truth.
Okay.
Perception's reality. So while you might have been up till whenever working on whatever, if no one knows that, their perception is only what they can see.
Okay.
So it's up to you now to change their perception. Say, hey, mom, I'm working till 5 a.m., doing whatever. I'm launching this business in 3 months. This is what I'm working on. Like, come, let me show you what I'm developing in my room at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, this is the app. This is what we could do. This is what's going on. Now, mommy has a different narrative. Mommy is thinking, oh, Jason is just tired. Aww. Don't worry. Don't knock on his door, okay? I'll wash his laundry.
Okay.
A completely different situation because now you've put conscious and deliberate information into the public space.
Okay. So right? I like this. So I'm getting now that it's really a disconnect in communication.
Correct.
Because you're saying if they don't know, then they'll perceive it as something different.
Exactly. The market, the audience will create a brand for you. It's up to you to take control of what that perception is.
Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, so in terms of personal branding, everybody has an Instagram account, Facebook account. And I think people fail to understand that first impressions really happen when a person first interacts with not necessarily you meeting, but seeing you on a digital platform. So what I'm really saying is, the same way you say the audience would, create a brand for you when it comes to, the whole LinkedIn or the whole social media networks. What advice do you have for persons in terms of, building a brand or, just posting on social and being mindful?
Again, break it down, make it very, 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 very simple. If you don't want people to think it, don't do it. Simple.
Okay.
Like, if you don't want people to think that you are that girl or guy that is always on their head top, or you don't want people to think that you are very combative and catty, don't do it. It's like you consciously choose what to put into the online space.
Yeah.
Right? If you want to be very flamboyant and effervescent, go for it. Like, show that side.
Okay.
So, case in point, me. I think I'm a smart dude, right? I think so.
Okay.
Right? But at the same time, I don't want to be perceived as stodgy, right? Okay. I try not to take myself overly seriously, but I want to give that, approachable. I'm kind of cool. I'm here. I can break it down. Like, it's simple. Like, we could hang out together. Ain't that serious? Like, you could call me, right? That kind of stuff, right? That's the vibe that I want to give off. So in order to do that, what I do is I address that in the way that I speak, the way that I dress, what I do, where I go, like how I carry myself, right? And on the one hand, it's like, yeah, man, that's Corey, we cool. On the other hand, it's like, yeah, that's Corey. I can go, I can talk to him. Like, he's, as you say, the veteran.
It is.
But hold on, but think about it, right? If it is that you say I'm that veteran, but with another person with the same exact level of experience and exposure, you might not want to go talk to that person. You might think that, you know what, they can be too busy, they're not going to have time for me, like, whatever.
Well, I mean, you can still ask anyway, but I mean, like, your branding, I reached out to you, you're here.
Exactly, so that's what I'm saying. So there are people who would give off the vibe that, you know what, let's just leave them alone. But I consciously want it to be a situation where it's like, okay, I want to talk to Corey, go for it. Like, send me a message. Hey, let's chat. Let's talk. Right? And that's on purpose. That's not something that just happened. That's on purpose. So take it all the way back to SIPs. I never wore Converse a day in my life until I built SIPs as a brand. In my head, a person that works at SIPs wears Converse.
Okay.
So I wore Converse every day for 10 years.
Okay.
Because that's what the person that is in that space, that matches with the brand I was building.
Okay.
So I wore Converse. People that came to work at SIPS wore Converse. It just happened that we work at SIPS, so we're in Converse, and we were the people who work at SIPS. We're in Converse. It just matched, right?
Okay.
I could have done the exact same thing wearing Nikes. It would not have come across. I could have done it wearing Vans. It wouldn't have come across. But Converse gave that level of cool that worked. Even when I was in a business capacity, working on behalf of SIPS, I wore Converse.
Okay, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it here.
So, and that was a deliberate choice to give off an impression.
Okay.
So even when it was, okay, Corey, come be on a panel as, this entrepreneur that's been in business and whatever, I showed up in jeans and Converse.
Okay.
Because that was the impression that I wanted to give off. I'm not doing that anymore. I don't wear Converse anymore. Not because I don't like them, but it's just not the vibe.
I understand. Okay, so you mentioned, always being in a coffee shop. You mentioned, networking or being seen when you don't necessarily want something in return. Mm-hmm. So just expound on that a bit for me.
Mm-hmm. People are people. Like, again, people are people. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
I don't want a situation where every time I see Crystal, I say, hey, Crystal, you could lend me $20? Hey, Crystal, you could lend me $20? Hey, Crystal, you could buy me a drink? Hey, Crystal, you would not want to see me anymore.
Of course not.
Right?
Corey.
You would see me and cross the road. But if it's a situation where, hey, Crystal, what's going on? Let's talk about, the latest show that we've been watching. Oh, this article that I read. Oh, hey, I know you into this book. Yo, check out this book. This was cool. Hey, I left my wallet at home. You could cover me today? That's different, right?
Right.
That's a completely different. You're like, oh, man, what is $20 among friends? Real life situation. That's something that could happen. But it's not a situation where every single time I see you, I ask for something. And while I talk about, asking for money, it could be a situation where it's like, hey, you meet a lot of people, hosting your podcast.
Right.
Like, could you introduce me to Megan Michael? Like, I think she's so cool. Could you introduce me? And then could you introduce me to the guys that talk about football? Could you introduce me to No.
Okay, got it.
No.
Okay.
But if it's a situation where, hey, I know you do Positivity. Could you introduce me to Megan?
Okay.
It's like, sure. Because I know you're a valuable type of person. I know her, she's a valuable type of person. I can make that connection and be a valuable type of person. But it's not that every single time you ask him for something. So you also want to add to people. So same thing, make connections, offer information. If you know someone that could help somebody else, go for it. It doesn't have to always directly benefit you.
Exactly. Right. So I like to say that everything is not always in dollars and cents. So every time you do something, you don't have to expect something.
Exactly.
And I think, networking in general is a two-way street. Like people just see it as, let me go out and meet people and find out how they could help me.
Exactly.
It's two sides, right? So Corey, what are you most excited about in the branding space? I know you built SIPs, you're consulting, Refuel. What are you really most excited about?
I mean, at the end of the day, I love building a brand and seeing people connect with it.
Okay.
And yes, that is much more visible when it's a consumer brand.
Yeah.
Where you can see visibly in the public space that love, that adoration. But you have other situations where you can create something and see people reacting to it the way that you want them to react.
Okay.
Case in point, last year we hosted a conference and award ceremony for a client. And when we had the idea for the award ceremony, I said, I want to create the Grammys, the vibe of the Grammys, the feeling of the Grammys.
Okay.
So that affected everything. So the awards, what they looked like, where the award ceremony was held, the type of music that was played as you were getting into your seat, the color of the lights that were being shone, like that was the goal from beginning to end. How you were greeted when you got out of your car until you had your last drink and said goodnight. And that created the brand that I wanted. That's what I wanted. I want this to feel like the Grammys.
Okay, so you did a deep dive in consumer behavior.
That's literally what it is.
Okay. So what do you think is the biggest, I don't know, myth associated with the space?
Myths, that people always trying to sell you something, and on the one hand, yes, because people only see ads, they only see advertising, and like I show my clients, not my clients, my students, I show my students, advertising is like a 1/12 of what marketing is, right? So by the time you get around to seeing an ad, that is a fraction of the marketing and the branding that has been implemented. So people think of, I don't fall for ads, or I don't buy into all that stuff. It's like, well, I think you already bought into it.
Exactly.
Like you might be ignoring an Apple ad, but every time you see somebody with an Apple Watch on, you start associating the Apple Watch with that type of person.
True.
And you're thinking, okay, if that is the type of person that wears an Apple Watch, then either A, I am that type of person, or B, I'm not that type of person. Either way, the marketing has worked.
Yeah.
So you don't have to see an ad for Apple Watch. You don't need to see the ad for the latest iPhone and be like, I don't know the price. You're not the customer. Like, if the price throws you off, you're not that customer.
Exactly. I love to see that a lot, right? Like, people would see something and be like, I ain't buying that. Who's she trying to talk to? But exactly, right? And a lot of people don't get that. So while you was talking just now, right, I was, just thinking, people don't really understand, like, how, like, I honestly feel like marketing, exploits psychology to a certain extent. Because you just said, we don't recognize we're being consumed by, brands and stuff like that. So that just popped in my head.
No, it's at the end of the day, when I was doing my degree, I basically, I conceptualized in my head, like, marketing is applied psychology. That's it. Like, you understand how people work, what makes them tick, and then you can address that. Same thing with management and HR management. It's like, you understand how people work. Yeah. You can manage them. Let's not say exploit. Let's not say manipulate. It's management, right?
I feel like it's like a game of chess and we just setting up the blocks.
Right, that's exactly what it is. So you try to understand how people think, and then you can have a more deep connection with them. So don't think of it as, you're manipulating or exploiting or whatever it is. I'm trying to make a connection to you, right? So I think of business as always trying to solve a problem or serve a customer, right? Okay. You're trying to serve one type of person.
Yeah.
So the better you can understand that person, the better you can serve them. Apple isn't trying to exploit Joe Public. Apple is trying to serve that 10% of the market that is their target. That's it. Apple does literally could care less about the rest of you. So, and I think that's where people get it wrong on the consumer side and on the producer side, because there are businesses that say, well, I'm making my product for everybody. No, if you make your product for everybody, you've made it for no one.
Toilet paper, that's a good example.
No, because in Japan, in China, in all of Asia, toilet paper is completely irrelevant, and they think that people who use toilet paper are dirty, because they figure, you know what, washing it away is cleaner than just wiping it and hoping that it's gone. Again, you got to know your customer.
Relative, right?
So you got to understand, okay, am I trying to sell toilet paper in the East, where a bidet is much better sell, and maybe you could have built a line of products around the bidet experience, as opposed to trying to sell toilet paper in the East. You can, or trying to sell a bidet in the West, where it's like, I'm not sure if there's a market for it. Like, how many people can say that they have ever used a bidet, much less have one, right? And that's an entire cultural shift that would need to happen in order for there to be a market for that. See? So it's just about serving the needs of the customer that you've chosen to serve. So it's not about you trying to say, I have a product that I want to sell. It's not about you, right? It's about your customer. What is it that is in their best interest? What can you offer them to help them? Apple didn't create the iPod just for anybody that wanted to listen to music. They created the iPod for a stylish, young-minded, trendy type of person who is technically savvy, who's also socially accessible. They were creating that one product for this specific type of person that had all these attributes. And then they built their empire on that.
Okay.
And they then showed you, I'm a Mac, I'm a PC. Literally, the PC was, the traditional, the old business, the suit and tie guy that goes to work and uses Microsoft Word. Well, the Mac was, hey, I'm trendy, I'm hip, I wear Converse. Was it Converse? No, it wasn't Converse. It was like Vans or something. But he was like, he was irreverent. He's like a young, trendy app developer before there were app developers, right? So he had that very cool look, and he's like, hey, I'm a Mac. He's a PC. He doesn't really get the job done. He's no fun. Yeah, well, so they're showing you this is the type of person that uses a Mac. This is the type of person that buys an iPod. This is the type of person that has an iPhone. This is the type of person. They're not trying to be the market leader. They could care less.
Yeah.
Apple, not the market leader, was the most valuable company on the planet. Tesla, not the market leader, is the most valuable company on the planet. They're not trying to be the market leader.
Got it.
It's not about trying to sell to everyone.
Exactly. Thank you, Corey, for that marketing crash course.
Hey.
You guys get it? Right. So, I mean, like, people would see you and assume Corey, is so lucky. This man is so lucky. But really, how do you find work-life balance? How do you learn to separate it?
So, on the one hand, there's no such thing as balance. There's no such thing as equilibrium. When people talk about balance, they usually think of equilibrium, as in everything is perfectly balanced all the time forever. And that doesn't happen. What happens is, today, you may have to go to work and work for 12 hours. Or this week, or maybe this month, or this 3-month period, you may need to put more focus on work.
Yeah.
There's also, then it swings back to the next side like a pendulum where, hey, it's family time now. So for me, I have a very sophisticated time management system. It's called a toddler. So
a toddler.
A toddler.
Oh, a toddler.
Yeah, he just turned 3. And you...
an actual
toddler.
I thought that was an acronym.
No, it's a very, very sophisticated time management system. Like, you can work and you can be the goal achiever. You can go and do all that stuff. But right now, I need you to be a lion.
Okay.
I need you to come and build Legos with me.
Okay.
Right now.
Got you.
I need you, let's go build a train track or dig a hole in the backyard or go play football or go fly a kite or right now. Like, he needs it when he needs it, and you have to give it to him. So back to that pendulum had just swung all the way towards family time, and then at some point it's going to swing back to work.
Okay.
Right? So I think people have the problem because they're trying to hold that pendulum perfectly still.
Yeah.
And it won't work.
Okay.
So my 3-year-old has to understand that, okay, daddy has gone to work now. That's it. I'll see you later. And then I come back and it's, okay, you can't talk to me right now. I'm not sending you an email because I'm playing with my toddler.
Okay.
So when I'm home, it's home time. When I'm working, it's work time. And I didn't realize that had become so known about me until I remember a friend/colleague called me one day on Sunday and she says, hey, Corey, I know it's family day, but I was like, oh, hold on. I don't remember telling you this, but that's what it is. Family day. Sunday is family day. Don't work on Sundays. Unless it's a reason, and then the pendulum swings back again.
Okay.
Right? but it can't be that you are entirely like focused solely on work to the detriment of your family.
Okay.
The thing is, I like that that's what I admire most about, say, Richard Branson. Family is huge for him. Counter that with somebody like a Elon Musk. Family was never that huge for him. Even Steve Jobs' family wasn't that huge for him, right? So that's why I more identify with like a Richard Branson, because he's always, yes, I'm building this business and I want all these great people and I want this big brand and all that. But you know what? My family's going to be here. His office was his house while he was raising his kids. He said, and he's eccentric, so like take it with a pinch of salt. Like he'd be having meetings and his kids would be like running around in the house because he's living on a houseboat at one point.
Okay.
Right? Slightly exaggerated, not for everybody, but the point is there. Like, and especially know that we're working from home a lot more. Like there are people that are still working from home. I've always worked from home. It is a situation where kids are back at school and all that. But before, when we were like fully locked down, you're working from home. If my son, happened to like come into a meeting while I'm on the call, I think that the world has changed to the point where that's no longer frowned on.
Yeah.
Like, you understand, okay,
Yeah.
somebody's son, daughter, child, cat, dog, bird might like come into the frame because they're not coming into the workspace, you are in the home space. Yeah. So I think it's a difference in how I look at what family life balance is. And also too, like, I work with my wife.
Okay.
Right? So we work together, and I always just say we can't work together, but it kind of happened. Yeah. Because while we work together, we don't always work together. So one of the businesses that we're involved in happens to be together. Okay. Right? So we do branding together and then we separate and do everything else.
I feel so bad to leave her outside. She could have been in here.
Oh no, she's at work. She's currently at work.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So once the laptop or her cell phone is there, we're at work.
Alrighty, sounds good. I like you said, I feel like it's definitely more relatable now. People understand, the children and stuff like that. Because I actually saw a lady doing like an ad, and her child was there, and it was, like I was watching it, and I could understand. Yeah, she's a mom. So yeah, definitely more relatable. I know we're strapped for time, so you have any advice for aspiring individuals just like yourself?
Ooh, entrepreneurs, marketers,
marketers. Aspiring brand architects, you started the whole six thing, there's so much to go about.
The one my constant piece of advice for anything like this has always been, do it before you're ready. Because you will never be ready. Like, I don't think I'm ready to start my first business yet.
Okay.
12 years later.
Okay.
So I don't think I'm ready. Like, I'm not yet ready. Like, I don't have all the skills that I would need to start a business.
That is how I feel about this podcast,
exactly.
guys.
So
I am not even ready yet.
And you're at episode what?
6.
All right, good. So start before you're ready. And you never know what happens. If you really weren't ready and, the market wasn't ready and all that, you would get feedback that you can use to start your next business before you're ready.
Okay.
And just keep starting before you're ready.
I like it. It's kind of like, jump in the sea and learn to swim.
You see, no,
swim?
Me and the swimming thing don't work out. My swim coach would not be happy to hear that. But, I mean, I've done it. I've learned. And I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, swimming is just, I don't know. That's bad analogy. Bad analogy for me.
Okay.
But
I feel like that's how I learned to swim, though. Like, my dad took me out. And he just dropped me, and I just had to
immediate panic
swim
attack.
back to shore like real fast.
Panic attack. Nope. Not for me. Not for me at all. But anyways, they usually say entrepreneurs will jump out of a plane and build a parachute on the way down, or like jump off a mountain and build a plane on the way down. But start before you're ready. Everything is figure outable. Yeah. I can't remember who said that, but everything is figure outable. There's enough stuff on the internet. Just sift through it. You can learn, pull from the network, ask people for help, and you can be good.
Yeah. True, you can fail and fail until you succeed.
Correct. Failure rate is success.
Okay, so follow Corey at That Guy McClean. It
That
should
McClean
prompt you
guy.
to his other social media channels.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can stay updated with him. Also, watch the space at Be Social Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode. Thank you so much, Corey, for your time. Alrighty, guys. Bye.
Ciao.